I used to think it was just my imagination. The kind of thought you brush off when you're tired, when your eyes are playing tricks on you, when the shadows feel heavier than they should. But now I know it's real. The woods behind my house are getting closer. It started small, subtle, the kind of change you wouldn't notice unless you were looking for it. My backyard has always ended at a wooden fence, and beyond it, a wall of trees. Tall pines, thick trunks, dark leaves, and that constant whisper of wind moving through branches. For years, that line never changed. The fence was the boundary. My house was safe. The forest stayed where it belonged. Then one morning, I opened my curtains and felt that strange, cold feeling in my stomach. The trees looked closer. Not dramatically. Not like they had moved overnight. But the space between the fence and the first line of trees felt thinner. Narrower. Like the forest had taken a single, quiet step forward. I laughed it off. Told myself it was perspective. Maybe the light was different. Maybe I just hadn't paid attention before. I went to work, forgot about it, lived my day like normal. But once you notice something like that, you can't unsee it. The next day, I checked again. And the next. And the next. The gap kept shrinking. At first, I tried to measure it. I took a measuring tape into the yard and checked the distance from the fence to the nearest tree. Then I wrote it down. I felt stupid doing it, like I was feeding some paranoid thought. But a week later, I measured again. The number was smaller. Not by much. Inches. Maybe a foot. But it was smaller. That's when the fear started to grow. Not panic. Not screaming terror. Just a quiet, creeping dread that settled in my chest and refused to leave. I told my neighbor about it. He laughed. Said trees grow, roots spread, branches shift, that forests are living things. He said I was probably just noticing natural growth. But trees don't walk. They don't move closer to fences in neat, clean lines. They don't advance. At night, I started hearing things. Soft sounds. Not animals. Not the normal forest noises. It sounded like dragging. Like slow, heavy movement through dirt and leaves. Long, low scraping sounds that would stop the moment I opened my window. Every time I looked outside, everything was still. Perfectly still. Then the fence started changing. The wood began to warp, bending inward, like it was under pressure. Like something was leaning against it from the other side. Small cracks formed. Nails loosened. The boards creaked at night, even when there was no wind. And the trees were closer. So close now that branches brushed the fence. One morning, I woke up and there were leaves in my yard. Not blown in by wind. Not scattered. Placed. In small piles near the fence, like something had carried them over. I stopped going into the backyard after that. I kept the curtains closed. I avoided the windows. But you can't ignore a thing that wants to be seen. One night, during a storm, the power went out. No lights. No TV. No phone signal. Just darkness and rain and the sound of the forest moving. Not swaying. Moving. I heard the fence crack. A loud, sharp snap. Then another. I stood in the hallway, heart pounding, holding my phone like it could protect me. The sounds were slow, deliberate, wood breaking, dirt shifting, leaves dragging across the ground. Step, pause, step, pause. Whatever was happening wasn't violent. It was patient. When the storm ended, the noises stopped. The next morning, I finally went outside. The fence was broken inward. Several boards snapped clean in half. And the trees, they were right there. Not a gap anymore. No space. Just trunks and branches pressing against what used to be my yard. The forest had crossed the boundary. I called the city, a forestry service, property inspectors. Everyone gave me the same answers. Soil shift, land movement, natural expansion, environmental factors. No one believed me when I said the forest was moving. So I stopped telling people. Now the trees touch my house. Branches scrape my walls at night. Roots have cracked the concrete patio. And sometimes, when everything is quiet, I hear breathing. Deep, slow, like the woods themselves are alive and resting just outside my walls. I don't sleep in my bedroom anymore. It's too close to the back of the house. I sleep in the living room, with the lights on. The windows are covered. The doors are locked. But every morning, when I wake up, I check. And every morning, the woods are closer. If you're listening to this and you live near a forest, go outside. Look at the line where your yard ends. Look at the trees. Measure the distance. Write it down. And if tomorrow it's smaller, don't ignore it. Because the woods behind my house aren't just growing. They're coming.